Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about sacrifice engines, which are this horrific element that comes out of Call of the Netherdeep, the Right Now book, right? So I am just like absolutely enthralled with the Right Now Dungeons and Dragons Call of the Netherdeep book. This is a Dungeons and Dragons book, right? This is a 5e book. This is a Critical Role book. This is Call of Netherdeep. The sacrifice engines are are on the continent of Wildmount. They are specifically within Xhorhas, which is a region on the continent of Wildmount, and they are in Bazzoxan, which is a damned city in Xhorhas. Right? It is literally on the opening of an abyssal opening that just spits out demons and fiends, right? And this lawful good drow warrior fights to keep a drow paladin. He's a drow paladin, Varen Thelis. He fights to keep this city safe. He fights to keep the demons and the fiends that come out of this hellmouth, right? And stop them from going into Xhorhas to stop the monster citizens of Xhorhas. And Xhorhas is the home of the Kryn dynasty, right? And so what are the sacrifice engines? Let's talk about what they are for a minute, and then let's talk about what they mean for modern Dungeons and Dragons, because I think it's kind of a deep topic. So one, you will find them on page 52 of Call of the Netherdeep, and they're brilliant, right? The sacrifice engines are brilliant. What are the sacrifice engines, okay? The sacrifice engines are pits that have whirling silver blades. They're 30 feet. I think they're 40 feet deep, and there's several of them. They're holes that go into the ground, and they've been manufactured. They're built, and they have these whirling silvered blades, and basically they can be turned on still. They were built by these evil hell denizens, right? By demonic overlords. And what they would do is they would shred sacrifices in it. They would put in humanoids and just make a slurry of blood, right? That would drain down for hell's denizens to drink, right? Like incredibly grisly, right? And now Varen Thelis, a lawful good paladin, still uses these today, but he uses them on demons and fiends, right? Which are still meat creatures, right? Like they still have meat bodies, right? And they come up from this hellmouth, right? And they're gonna and these demons, which are completely evil, right, are gonna go. And this is one thing. I'm just shocked that sacrifice engines are in this book, because there's this press from the Wizards of the Coast left WotC crew that evil and good don't matter, but they also are hyper focused on the history of the game, and they're like, Dungeons and Dragons is hardcore. Dungeons and Dragons still has combat. Dungeons and Dragons should be upsetting, right? And these sacrifice engines are, right? This is Matthew Mercer talking about pits with swirling silver blades that do 44 points of damage every single round, and anyone who is put into this thing is continued to be shredded at a rate of 44 points per round as they fall by the force of gravity into a 40-foot pit, and each round they're down there, they take 44 points of damage, right? And when they drop 10 feet, when they drop 20 feet, when they drop 30 feet, right, each time it's harder. When they go back up, those silver blades are still going, right? So this is a butchering meat factory, right? This thing these are pits built into the ground by old school demons, used by a lawful good drow paladin now, right? That is hardcore, right? And it's saying there's still tons of blood in Dungeons and Dragons, and these sacrifice pits are pure 5th edition, pure Critical Role, pure Matthew Mercer, pure D&D, and pure 1984, right? People are like, oh, I don't think it's easy to die in 5th edition. You seen the sacrifice engines, right? These things are freaking reapers. Like, they will slay your player character in a New York second, right? Like, it will happen. No, well, I guess it's going to take probably 3 or 4 rounds, but it don't matter how many hit points you got. 44 points a round while you descend deeper and deeper and deeper, and you got to take 44 more when you're coming up. This is a player character reaper, man, and anything you put in these pits is going to die, right? Like, it is a manufactured murder hole, right? Like, and I love that it's in 5th edition, because everybody was like, oh, I like old school because it's got, danger in it. Like, danger is all up in 5e, and the only reason you don't know is you're not buying it, right? And your opinion of 5th edition's danger comes from shocking ignorance, right? Like, and we get this thing where people who are down with the copy games, people who are down with the D&D copy, people who are down with the D&D then, talk this smack on 5e, which is only allowable within their skull because they are literally ignorant of what the game is right now. They are just saying nonsense noise they get from a bunch of old, D&D then channels that squawk and complain and only say the bad. But if you pick these books up and you read them page for page, right, you will find straight murder holes up in 5e that will wreck any player character from any edition, right? And the game is as raw and real and active today as it ever was, right? And the idea that D&D then or D&D copies got a thing on the real deal is only held by the most ignorant people who are simply not reading the current books. That's my opinion. Sacrifice engines are as heavy metal as it gets, and as 1984 as it gets, and it came straight out of the skull of Matthew Mercer. That's my opinion. Come at me in the comments. Thank you very much. Please consider liking, subscribing. Have a wonderful millennium.